This is 5 on your side at noon. Focused on you.
Right now, you're taking a live look at Key West, Florida, where 24 hours from now, Hurricane Idalia is expected to make landfall well north of the area. Thanks so much for being here at noon. I'm Kay Quinn. Right now, people in Florida are making last-minute preparations. Some are even evacuating before the storm hits. Ivan Rodriguez reports on how people are bracing for one of the strongest hurricanes to hit Florida's Big Bend since 1950.
Idalia unleashing its wrath on Cuba. It's just a snapshot of what's heading towards Florida, but possibly even more menacing.
This storm hits at high tide. Storm surge could reach 8 to 12 feet in some areas.
It's a race against time in Florida. Store shelves have been wiped bare, boats have been pulled from the water, and evacuations have been ordered.
Oh, it's like, get out. It's mandatory.
People that don't have any other way to evacuate, they don't have anywhere to go, there are shelters available.
Idalia is forecast to rapidly intensify as it gains strength over some of the warmest waters on Earth in the Gulf of Mexico. The storm is expected to strike Florida with fury as a powerful Category 3 hurricane, packing destructive winds up to 120 miles per hour.
So those people that decide that they do not want to evacuate, they got to remember to shelter in place. You're going to be on your own until the weather dies down, and then we'll be able to come back out and rescue you.
Officials say they're prepared.
We have urban search and rescue teams that are on standby to support the state with any life-saving needs that they have. We have the Army Corps of Engineers ready to support any power generation missions that they might need.
In Clearwater, Florida, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
Meteorologist Anthony Slaughter has been tracking Idalia for several hours now. Anthony, walk us through the timeline of the storm and why it could be so devastating.
Yeah, well, as you mentioned before the package, the last time they've had something like this was 1950. Well, thinking about it, the National Hurricane Center hadn't even been formed yet, so you didn't have these sophisticated weather warnings to get ahead of the storm. So this one's going to be a big one. It's going to hit a part of Florida that's not used to seeing hurricanes, although it is lesser populated than, say, like Tampa or Fort Myers. Nonetheless, Category 3 landfall anywhere is not a good thing. You can see the showers and storms are starting to pick up. You saw Key West earlier. First little line of showers starting to move on through. Now, the projected path of this is going to bring it north of Tampa and also just about east of Apalachicola. So right around that Big Bend area. Right now, it's still a Category 1 with the winds at the center at 85. It is picking up speed. So I think tomorrow about 8 o'clock in the morning, it'll probably be making landfall again just north of Tampa. But you see the hurricane warnings extend all the way south near Sarasota. That's because this is going to be a large storm. So not only are they going to see the impacts within the cone, but also outside of it as well. Heavy rain upwards of 6 to 11 inches right along that Big Bend of Florida. We'll talk more about this storm and our weather here at home as it remains quiet. Labor Day right around the corner. We'll see you in a bit, Kay.
All right, thank you, Anthony. Members of Missouri Task Force 1, they are headed to Pensacola to help with recovery efforts after the storm hits. They'll find out where they're needed once they arrive there. The group has a long history of helping with recovery efforts, including Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Sandy, and Hurricane Ian just last year. Missouri's task force leader says he's been deployed 22 times throughout his career. Despite some of the missions being really difficult, he says they're incredibly rewarding.
This being a part of Missouri Task Force 1 just means everything to me. My family's most important, of course, my wife and my kids, but being able to go down and help and to assist these people in the worst days of their lives means everything to me. People always ask us, what do you remember? You know, what's the worst thing? I try to remember the people because the people really need help and they're thankful we're down there.
6 other members of Task Force 1 are back home after spending a week in Hawaii. They were searching for remains among the rubble of a fire in Maui that killed 115 people earlier this month. Right now, 3 cities in our area, they're getting big checks from FEMA. It's all to help with rebuilding after last July's record rainfall that triggered devastating floods. 5 on your side, Sydney Stallworth reports from University City Hall with more on how the money will also be used to prevent flood risks in the future.
FEMA is awarding around $7 million to 3 cities in the St. Louis metro area, and University City will be getting a portion of that money. You remember last year in July, we were reporting live as the rain came down and reports of flash flooding continued to come in. After 2 days of rainfall, about 300 properties were damaged in the city. Let's break down the funding. University City, Ladue, and Webster Groves will all be receiving FEMA funds. The money comes from the agency's Flood Mitigation Assistance Program. Now, FEMA will be buying up properties that were damaged by last July's flooding. 3 apartment buildings will be purchased here in University City at an estimated cost of over $3.2 million in federal funding. Over in Ladue, 6 residential properties will be bought and demolished at a cost of over $3.5 million. In Webster Groves, 2 residential properties will be bought and demolished at a cost of over $578,000. Now, FEMA says these properties in Webster Groves are repetitive losses and are in the special flood hazard area. Once the buildings are gone, that area will be returned to its natural state with seating and straw. Let's take a closer look at what will be done here in University City. FEMA will be buying out the 3 apartment buildings at Hafner Court. After the July 2022 flooding, the city requested help purchasing these apartments. The buildings are adjacent to the river de Pere and have sustained repetitive damage when heavy rain comes because of that. From now on, the University City Parks Department will maintain the land that the apartment buildings are currently on. In U City, I'm Sydney Stallworth, 5 on your side.
Keep your bug repellent handy. The first confirmed human case of West Nile virus in St. Louis County has been identified. West Nile is most commonly transmitted through a mosquito bite. Most people who get it don't feel sick, but 1 in 5 people will develop a fever and other symptoms like headache and joint pain. The county health department says human cases of West Nile have also been reported in some surrounding counties and in 3 blood donors whose blood was tested for the virus. Now to a story we've been following for several weeks here on 5 on Your Side. The ongoing feud between Jennings city leaders continues as council members boycotted last night's meeting. That meeting still took place, but votes on important neighborhood improvement plans and other city business, they had to be put on hold. Council members are protesting the actions of Mayor Gary Johnson. Some circulated a letter last week claiming Johnson's abusing his power. 5 on Your Side stayed for the entire meeting, and people who went to the mic said they supported the mayor.
I feel like some of the things that occurred are personal feelings that different people have for the mayor. He won fair and square.
I've been here 40 years, and 2 before you. I've never seen anything like you're doing for this city. Never before.
You continue on because you're going to go through persecution. You're going to go through persecution when you're doing good. Continue on.
Mayor Johnson told the crowd he will reach out to those absent council members to try to move the city forward. Developing this afternoon, a Metro East community is mourning the loss of a Marine killed in a plane crash off the coast of Australia. Belleville native Captain Eleanor LeBeau was one of 3 people killed in the military training exercise Sunday. 20 others survived. Captain LeBeau was 29 years old. A Marine spokesperson says she was co-piloting the aircraft. The cause of that crash is still under investigation. St. Louis County Police investigating 2 deadly shootings that happened within minutes of each other. The latest happened just before 9:30 last night on Glen Owen Drive. Police say a 46-year-old man was walking with another person when they were approached by 2 people who stole a purse. The man was shot in the chest and later died. Just minutes earlier, police say a woman was shot inside a home in Blackjack. It happened just before 9 on Whisper Lake Drive, that's near Old Halls Ferry Road. No arrests have been made in either shooting. A controversial housing development is on pause. The St. Charles County Council unanimously voted down that plan for the Tall Tree Project near Bush Wildlife last night. The move is a relief to many who live in the area. That was the reaction after the vote. Many neighbors were worried the area wouldn't be able to handle the additional traffic, and the project may not be dead. Some council leaders believe the city of O'Fallon could annex the area, but the developer has said it doesn't have plans for annexation. In just over 3 hours, Missouri Governor Mike Parson will sign a bill aimed at attracting the entertainment industry to the state and the thousands of new jobs it will come with. Parson will sign the Show Mo Act in Chesterfield. The new law provides tax incentives for entertainment projects, which will lead to new jobs for contractors, building trades, and hospitality. The bill signing is set for 3:30 this afternoon. Coming up, expanding I-70, the bold plan to ease traffic in the Wentzville area and beyond.
And so I just wanted my readers to just know that there are other lives out there.
Mature lessons for young adults, how a St. Louis author hopes to teach understanding in her debut novel, and where you can catch her tonight.